Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight to it. So today's lesson is spiritual wickedness in high places, the women worship agenda. All right, so we're doing this lesson today because really anybody with a beating heart right now can see that there is a super intentional push to quote unquote empower women right now in this society. And, many people of all walks of life, they're really starting to see past it. They begin to see this a lot more than just quote unquote empowerment, women empowerment. And because it's really being stuffed down our face constantly. All you hear about nowadays is, women this and women that. They starting to put women in leading roles in the Marvel and DC. I'm not sure about DC. I'm pretty sure though that they're doing it too. Well, I think I should say. But anyways, different things that they're doing to promote women. And it's not because of, quote unquote, women's rights or representation, or they're trying to be nice. There's a reason behind that too. And it's all spiritual. Everything that we see playing out on earth, it all has a spiritual origin, a spiritual background. And if it's of the world, it has a left-hand side energy. So that's what we need to discuss on today's lesson. So today, my goal is to show you pretty much that this overbearing of marketing and promotion of women that's going on right now in this society, it goes back pretty much 3,000 to 5,000 plus years ago. And it's nothing new under the sun. All right. So that's pretty much it for the intro. Let's dive on in. Let's get what we normally start with here. Let's get Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
So that's what we're discussing today. The powers, meaning the demons, the spirits that are on the left-hand side, the spiritual wickedness in high places. And we're doing this so we can expose these workings, man. And the more you see how wicked the world is and the consequences of partaking in the indulgences of this world, the more likely you are to want to come out of it. So the more you can see, the better off you are. And you won't be confounded when you see these things play out in the society. All right. Let's get Job chapter 9 and verse 24.
This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
The wicked of this world, they want you to worship the woman. Again, this is not about, women being disenfranchised and now they just making a return and quote unquote gender equality gap, the gender equality gap, and all these different things. It's not because of that. Everything that you see on the forefront, it has a stab in the back effect of it, in the background that's really going on. Really what they're doing with our women right now is what you do with a swine. All right, they fatten up the pig for the slaughter, and that's essentially what's going on right now. They boosting their head up just so they can all have us destroyed. But anyway, we're not supposed to be worshiping women, man, or men either. I believe that's in Acts the 10th chapter when Peter told Cornelius not to worship him. He was like, "Get up, man! I'm just a man." And the worship of women, it leads to chaos, confusion, and displacement of so-called black men in his rightful place. All right, but we're gonna prove that. I'm just going over the preliminary scriptures now, but we're gonna prove that's exactly what's going on. Okay, let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4 and verse 4. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them.
You see, the God of this world, which is Satan, and Satan is worshiped through the many idols that are presented, before us. All right. Now that's how our people are blinded. And this is who this lesson is for, is for our people, the so-called black man and woman, in different, in various parts of the four corners of the earth. But yeah, man, we're blinded. All right. The God of this world have blinded us, a lot of our people at least. So we don't worship the image of the Most High, all right, and take heed to the gospel of Hamashiach. We're going to prove that, though. We're going to prove that. Now, let's get started pretty much here. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
So all that we see, like I said, a promotion of women that's going on right now, it's already been done before. Okay, it's nothing new. It's nothing new at all. And really, what's going on is they're trying to get you to worship what the world calls the mother goddess. Okay, and we're going to go into that right now. Let's get some proof. All right, this is 2 Kings chapter 17. And just for a backstory, this is the chapter that details Israel going into the Assyrian captivity. And a captivity, if you're new to this and you don't understand what that means, it's essentially where a nation of people put another nation of people under subjection. That's why we're in captivity today by the so-called white man, because we're not in rulership. If you're not in rulership, you're in bondage. You either winning or you losing. All right. There are no ties when it comes to rulership. But anyway, this goes into, this chapter here is one of the chapters that goes into the detail of the Assyrian captivity and why, like it says here, why Israel fell. So, yeah, let's get that. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 12 here first.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 12. For they serve idols, wherefore the Lord has said unto them, ye shall not do this thing.
So we serving idols today. So the same reason that we went into captivity back in the Assyrian captivity, over around 2,700 years ago, it's the same reason that we in captivity now. Let's get verse 15.
Verse 15. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Most High had charged them that they should not do like them.
See, we're not supposed to do like the other nations, but that's exactly what we're doing. We're rejecting the Most High statutes in our covenant that we made. Okay. Let's get verse 16.
Verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Most High, their power, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the host of heaven, and served Baal.
So that's exactly what we're doing now, believe it or not. All right, we're making a grove. Now, when you look at this word grove here, in this concordance, which is essentially just a Bible dictionary that goes into details of the different words that are being used here, in this case in the Hebrew, in the New Testament, normally in the Greek. Let's look at the word grove here. It's H842. Now we look at grove, look what it says. It doesn't just say, something to do with grass and things of that nature. It says groves for idol worship. Ashera. It says the Babylonian Astarte, Canaanite goddess of fortune and happiness, the supposed consort of Baal, her images. Now, one thing that you want to notice here is it says this goddess, which is just a female god, all right, quote unquote God, because these quote unquote gods and goddesses, if you don't hear me say quote unquote, just understand it's just from the context of what the other nations believe they are, not what we adhere to. But a goddess is just a female god, and this is a goddess of fortune and happiness. So we know that Satan, brings some of his adherents fortune. All right, he tried to do the same thing to Yahushua, and I believe Matthew, the 4th chapter. But you also have people that pray to the goddesses for fortune as well. You have to keep that in mind. All right, it says the god of goddesses, her images, sacred trees or poles set up near an altar. These things still exist. All right, and the ones that existed at this time are still up. They keep a lot of these temples and groves and things of that nature, these altars still up. They keep them and reserve them because they go in there and still be worshiping these gods and goddesses. Well, all right, it says the Phoenician goddess, the image. Now, one thing I want to go to here. All right, let's go into the lexicon here. Now it says in the idolatry of the Phoenicians and Armenians, Astarte. When you hear that as star or Astarte, we're going to talk about that more. It says, or the planet Venus. All right, keep that in mind. It says, or the planet Venus. Okay, let's get a little bit more. Matter of fact, I already had that pulled up. All right, so here's the wiki page on Venus. Now, again, this is a goddess that's actually worshipped. It was worshipped heavy, back in the day. When I say back in the day in the ancient world, at the time of Paul, in the 1st century, and still on today. And we're going to show that. So Venus, it says, a Roman goddess of love, beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity. Again, prosperity. There's women that pray to this quote unquote goddess for prosperity, just like you would worship the Most High if you have a blessing. These people say, oh, Venus, thank you so much for that blessing. If you're not familiar, that's how it actually works. Now it says day, Friday, because the word Friday literally comes from the goddess Frigga, if you didn't know. But that's pretty much all I wanted on this. Last thing, she is usually depicted nude in paintings. That's the same energy that they want our women to have. They want us to be nude. All right, it's the same energy. Okay, and we're going to talk about energy in East Pagan gods a little bit more later on, but here's what I wanted to show you guys. All right. It says Jordyn Woods wears absolutely nothing as she recreates Birth of Venus for her 25th birthday. Jordyn Woods looked incredible as she rocked nothing but her birthday suit in a series of jaw-dropping photos. Now, this person, Jordyn Woods, if you're not familiar with her, which I'm not really, essentially she just quote unquote Instagram model, 12 million followers. She was hanging around the Kardashians. That's the only thing that I saw her even being known for. So take a look at this. Now, this is a picture that she posted. I don't really want to show the picture of her because she was almost nude. This is literally what she looked like. So I'm not going to show that. If y'all want to go look at that, you can just go to her page and look at it. But for the sake of this lesson, she posted this on Instagram. And this is Venus, the same goddess that we just went into, that we saw that our people worship. All right. And you see that same picture here on the wiki page, The Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli. But look at the caption. It says, we'll ignore that first part. It says, my inspiration for this shoot is The Birth of Venus because it practically embodies the rebirth of civilization and a new hope. Now, I don't know if it's just me, brothers and sisters, but when I read something like the rebirth of civilization, that sounds almost like a new world order to me. Why does the civilization need to be rebirthed? I mean, based on what? What's gonna, reemerge here? So one has to think that that's, these are the type of things that she's referring to, pagan God and God's worship. Can I say for 100% certain that Jordyn Woods knows exactly all this information that we're talking about? I can't say that for 100% certain, but you be the judge of that. Remember, Venus is the goddess of prosperity. And again, I don't know how this person is even relevant because she hasn't done anything but hang around Kardashians, but she got 12 million followers on Instagram, which is a lot more than a lot of athletes have. But anyway, moving on, let's get back to the scriptures. We're going to show more connections between ancient goddesses that they try to get you to worship and more connections into today. Let's get Acts chapter 19 and verse 35.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 19 and verse 35. And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Ye men of Ephesus, that man is there that knoweth not how that the city of the Ephesians is a worshiper of the great goddess Diana and of the image which fell down from Jupiter.
Okay, just really quickly, I just thought of this. As I was talking about the connections between the different goddesses and today, think about the company that everybody knows, Nike. Nike is named after the goddess Nike. That's literally the name of the goddess. If you Google Nike goddess, you're going to see that's an actual goddess that was worshipped. Victoria's Secret, there's a goddess named Victoria, which I believe that's where they got the inspiration of that from. It goes on and on. So you have to understand that these are real dynamics. This is not anything that I'm reaching for it. This is actually what's going on in the society, whether you know it or not. But anyway, to the scripture here, Acts 19 and 35, it says the cities of Ephesians is the worship of the great goddess Diana, the image which fell down from Jupiter. Now, one thing to know that there's a temple in Ephesus that was actually one of the seven wonders of the world. This temple of Diana or Artemis. Let's go into that. Get a little bit more history on. I'm in Ephesus, so I can get a little bit more history on this lesson, brothers. And I did it again. Tripping. All right. Diana is what I want to go to. Okay. So it says Diana, complete light, flow restrained, because they view Diana or the goddess on the left-hand side as light as well. That's why the goddess is always likened to the moon. But anyway, it says Artemis. That is to say the so-called Turk or Persian or Ephesian Artemis. Now, here's another link. I showed brothers this not too long ago. It says Hurricane Ian forces NASA to shelter Artemis moon rocket. So NASA has called this moon rocket that they about to launch to the moon Artemis. Why is that? Because they're showing you who they worship are behind closed doors. This is not a happenstance. They don't just, this is NASA. Look how massive NASA is and influence that they have. You think they would name something just by happenstance, or we just gonna pick something that we saw we don't actually adhere to? That's not how things work. Okay. For a regular person, if they name it their like business or something like that, they probably would put great thought into it. You think these people not putting thought into it? They worship Artemis. That's why they name the space show that. Again, it's going to the moon. The moon is also, likened into the goddess Artemis, because they view it as a light on the left-hand path. But anyway, also what we see is Diana. Now let's deal with Diana really quickly. Now look at this. This movie Wonder Woman that came out. You know, we were talking about earlier how a lot of the Marvel and movies, so on and so forth, like Captain Marvel, they coming out and basically making toxic feminist movies nowadays, where the woman is always nowadays usurping the authority of a man. What was the name of that Netflix movie that came out that was toxic feminist? Dang, me and my red watch. I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna think of it later. And then I'll say it. It was something on Netflix. It was just something else. Just having a woman doing all type of stuff. But anyway, it says Wonder Woman's name is Diana. Again, you think this is something that's a coincidence? It's not at all. They name these people based on different gods and goddesses that they actually adhere to. But that's not much. I'm gonna get more. Let's get a little bit more proof. Okay. Let's get a little bit more proof. Let's get Judges chapter 2. It started at verse 10.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 10. And also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Most High, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel.
Salakia. The brother put in the chat, that's exactly right. I care a lot. Those are the type of movies that I'm referring to, that they're doing that on purpose. So it's an overindulgence in a woman and really bringing out a lot of masculine properties. All right, so that our women can embrace that. So that's what we're talking about today, the wada. But it says here, when we don't have our focus on the Most High, we just bound to go to the left-hand path. All right, because this generation arose that didn't know the Most High, nor the works which the Most High did for Israel. And then what did they do? Slaki, what did they do after that? Verse 11.
Verse 11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Baalim.
Exactly. That's what we stay doing. Let's get verse 12.
Verse 12. And they forsook the Lord, God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Most High to anger.
So it makes the Most High angry. When you don't adhere to the Most High, at least our people, there's consequences for it. The Most High get angry. When he get angry, man, hey, it's consequences that come from that. Just like an angry father with his son or daughter that's being disobedient. Let's get verse 13.
Verse 13, and they forsook the Most High and served Baal and Ashtoreth.
You see, Baal and Ashtoreth. Let's get Ashtoreth really quickly here. Because our people, we've been worshiping both gods and goddesses of the other nations that was supposed to be for the other nations, because the gods of the nations are idols, pursuant to, I believe, Psalms 96 and 5, if I'm not mistaken. All right, it says Asherah or Asherah, it says star. Now, where do you think you get the Eastern stars from? You understand how this is all, connecting and correlating? It says false goddess in the Canaanite religion, usually related to fertility cult. Okay. Now, one thing you'll notice about Wonder Woman, if you do a close-up here, you will see that she always has a star right here, this little star emblem. Even Captain Marvel has the same little star. It's an 8-pointed star, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if y'all can see that. Okay. So this is the inspiration behind Wonder Woman and a lot of the different Marvel female hero characters and so on and so forth. And really, more importantly, the energy that they want our women first to embrace is the wicked left-hand path, but also anybody that's willing to listen of the other nations as well. Because really they know that they know that the Most High is only dealing with the nation of Israel. So they really want to come out and say that. They really want to tell the other nations, like, yo, you might as well worship these guys and goddesses because the Most High ain't for you. That's what they really want to tell them. So that's why they put all this energy out on the earth.
It's a lot.
Khan.
Can I get a precept here?
Khan.
Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 4. Start at verse 16.
Okay.
Khan, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 16. Lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female.
So this is the Most High clearly giving warning to us, saying, do not make you any form of an image. And on verses 17 down goes on into male, female, fish, creeping thing, etc. Drop down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy power hath divided unto all the nations under the whole heaven. So
all these other images, these Dianas and Ashtoreths and Baals and so on and so forth, they were given to the other nations to serve, and not us.
God, that was a great precept. We definitely needed that for sure. Because that's exactly right, the similitude of any figure. And when you look through this, all of these things have been depicted as pagan gods or goddesses as well. The fish, the owl, all right, which I wanted to go into, but we won't have enough time to get into. Different beasts, falcon-headed gods, goat-headed gods, so on and so forth. Definitely great precept to bring out. So let's actually just get straight into this. Let's get Jeremiah chapter 7 and 15 actually first.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7 and verse 15. I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim.
So we can cast out when we worship the pagan deities. Let's get verse 17.
Verse 17. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem?
What they was doing, huh?
Verse 18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger.
You see that? So when you go into these women kneading their dough, that actually is what they call, what do they call that on Easter? That the hot cross bun, the hot cross bun. All right, that's a ritual that's been going on for thousands of years. All right, making cakes to the Queen of Heaven. All right, you also can think about birthday cakes as well, but also drink offerings. But no, let's focus on this here quickly. It says the Queen of Heaven. So let's go into the so-called Queen of Heaven. Now it says Queen of Heaven, antiquity. All right. Queen of Heaven was a title given to the number of ancient sky goddesses worshipped throughout the ancient Mediterranean and the ancient Near East. And they go by the title Inanna, Anat, Isis, which a lot of our people have unfortunately fell victim to. Nut, Astarte, Ashera by the prophet Jeremiah. That's what we just reading about. All right, Hera and Juno bore this title. That's where you get the month June from Juno. That's where they got that name from. Now, another thing, let's see, it says Inanna, which is one of the names of the quote unquote Queen of Heaven. All right, and again, just as a reminder, the reason we going into this because this is relevant. This is all relevant information to have because this is exactly what's going on, whether you know about it or not. And as things wind down the drain in this society, more of these things are going to start coming out. Okay. But anyways, Inanna was a Sumerian goddess of love and war. Okay. And look what it says. Inanna was associated with rain and storms with the planet Venus. Okay. All of these things start to link up because all the left-hand path is all congruent. It's all the same. It really is. It's all the same. So all these goddesses, they really go back down to one main source, which I want to explain later because if I say it now, it may kind of confuse, some people that's new. But anyways, let's look at something really quick. Now that we got that, let's go on here to Inanna since we were talking about Inanna. All right, so like we already got love, war, and fertility, goddess, sex, divine justice. Matter of fact, I just realized that divine justice. We're gonna get that in a second. Now look, it says planet Venus, symbol 8-pointed star. When you go into this 8-pointed star, look at that. That's the exact same image that you see on Wonder Woman's head. And again, why is that? Without you realizing it, they want you to worship a Wonder Woman. And when I say worship, I'm not saying you have a temple set up for Wonder Woman or you have a shrine in your house, but when you put images up in your house, you got an image of the mother goddess up in your house or in your room. All right, that's an idol. This person is set up to be an idol, whether you believe it or not. It's just made to be innocent. And if you think it's innocent, you think I'm reaching right now, congratulations, the spell has worked on you. Because that's what it's made to look like. Okay, that's a mystery of iniquity. So things can look like, it's innocent or it's nothing, but it's really wicked. All right, we go over Isaiah 5:20 all the time. All right, the good will be seen as bad and the bad will be seen as good. Understand? So that's how that links up. It's all the same thing. And a lot of, different stars is, a common symbol, as it says here. Even different numbers of the points, 6-pointed star as well. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, now I want to get on a different factor. I want to talk about feminism, okay? Because feminism is a left-hand side energy. It's a demonic spirit, okay? Because the Most High never sanctioned for women to want to usurp the authority of men. Okay, so if you say you independent, you don't need no man, that's a demonic spirit on you. Okay, because that's nowhere in the scriptures, at least from the standpoint of something we're supposed to be adhering to. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the origins of feminism, which is funny that they call it feminism when nothing is feminine about feminism. But let's get Isaiah chapter 57 and verse 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 57 and verse 1. The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart. And merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come.
Let's get verse 2.
Verse 2. He shall enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness.
Let's get verse 3.
But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer and the whore.
The seed of the sorceress is the seed of the strange woman that we talked about in Proverbs, the 2nd chapter, the whore of Babylon. This is what this is referring to. or like you have in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 15. That's the seed of the adulterer and the whore. If you embrace the doctrine of feminism, if you say you're a feminist, all right, and you believe in quote unquote equality, equal rights, then you have, embraced that ideology of the world. You are the seed of the adulterer and the whore. And let me say this quickly too, that this is by no means to diminish the role of a woman, because we need our women. All right, they're mandatory, they're necessary, beautiful. All right, when they're in their right mind, they love them. And we couldn't do anything without them from a standpoint of nation building, taking care of our children, holding us down, so on and so forth. So this is not about the sisters that are in their right mind. This is all about showing you where they want you to be at, all right, in the wickedness of the left-hand path, the spiritual wickedness in high places, and the energies that they pushing out on our people. Okay, just had to say that quickly. Let's get verse 4.
Verse 4, against whom do you sport yourselves? Against whom make ye a wide mouth and draw out the tongue? Are you not children of transgressions, a seed of falsehood?
So this is interesting. It says, against whom make ye a wide mouth and draw out the tongue. So one can read this, and since this was just going into the sons of the sorceress and the seed of the adulterer and the whore, and the next verse talks about the idols under every green tree, one could assume that when you read draw out the tongue, it's referring to a god or goddess that their adherents drew out the tongue. So which goddess drew out the tongue? You have this goddess here, Kali, or normally is stated as Kali Ma. So this goddess here, which I'm about to show you that this is the origin of feminism, whether you believe that or not. There's this energy, okay, of Kali. Now it says Kali, also referred to as Mahakali, Bhadrakali, Kalika, is a Hindu goddess who is considered to be a goddess of ultimate power, time, destruction, and change in Shaktism. Okay, ferocious form, so on and so forth. Now, one thing we can look at here says the mother of all living beings. Who in the scriptures was named the mother of all living beings? I'll leave it there for now, but let's look at this image here. And by the way, if you knew this as well, all an idol is basically, it's like a mascot for a left-hand side energy or spirit or demon. This person or this thing, this nasty, filthy beast is never lived before, never taken a breath of life before. None of the pagan gods or goddesses have ever lived before taking a breath. So they're not real, but the energy that they represent is definitely real. The spirits and the demons that they represent are definitely real. Okay, it's a real thing. Now look at this. This person has a man's head in one of their hands. It has many hands. It has the souls of heads of other men wrapped around her neck, different hands of man. And look at this. Her consort, Sheba, is on the ground and she got her hand on him. So what does that make you think of? What does this make you think of? Essentially what is happening with our women today. This is the image that they represent, whether they know it or not. All right. And Kali Ma is always shown with her tongue drawn out. She always shown killing and destroying men. If you're a woman that, you like to go from man to man to man, you represent Kali Ma in a sense of the destroyer goddess, because that's what she's known to do: destroy, build, destroy, and then destroy again, and build and destroy. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, whether you know it or not, Kali adherents they're named, they're called thuggees. Okay. Thuggies. So what are they really trying to tell us here? Thuggies, actually, no, let me get the ancient understanding. Thuggies, where is it at? I thought I just saw it. Where does it say it? Kalima. Thugs consider themselves to be the children of Kali, have been created from her sweat. Okay. Why do they call the so-called black man, a thug today? That's what you got to think about. All right. A lot of the different words that people use today, they all have ancient origins. Okay. We just don't know a lot of them a lot of times. I got this article really quickly. It says 5 ways to invoke the energy of the goddess Kali. We're not even going to go into all this. The reason I pulled this is for the title, invoke the energy of the goddess Kali. They don't have to tell you in plain words, worship Kali Ma, worship the energy of Kali Ma. All they have to do is push that energy on you. Okay. When they tell certain celebrities to wear, less clothing, or they have celebrities tell you, like Beyonce, and, put a ring on and all this different stuff that they got going on. That's the way they push the energy of quote unquote Kali Ma on you. You understand? It's all about different spirits and demons that's passing around that, you can't see, but it's relevant, it's there. Now, in this movie, Indiana Jones, I can't say I've really watched Indiana Jones, but of course I've heard of it. And I'm sure you brothers and sisters have as well. One of the things that Indiana Jones, they just straight up show this. You hear him saying Kali Ma. Whether you know it or not, these types of things are actually going on behind closed doors. Okay. You see, you got on these horns and all this. They didn't just pull this out of nowhere, in this major film here, Indiana Jones. This is actually what's going on. All right. And that energy is being pushed on all of our people. You understand? It's crazy, man. This man, he got sacrificed. Human sacrifice is a real thing as well. When you say something like that, people call you a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, but they haven't taken the time to read the scriptures to get the understanding and also do their research on history, where human sacrifice is a common thing. This man was sacrificed for Kali Ma. You understand? So, don't be so quick to pass something off as a quote unquote conspiracy, which, by the way, some things are quote unquote conspiracy theories, but not everything. When it's actually rooted in history and understanding from that, this all comes from the scriptures, by the way. That's how we're able to go into the scriptures and relate it back, because all these things are detailed in the scriptures. Sometimes you gotta go get the history to get the full understanding, but that's why it's there. The scriptures is always the foundation and root for all knowledge and wisdom. Okay. But yeah, brothers can look that up. I don't want to waste the whole 2 minutes going and showing all of this, but look this up, man. They was worshiping Kali Ma. It's crazy. Now that leads us to this demon here. Woman, Gloria Steinem. Gloria Steinem is the so-called leader and spokeswoman for American feminist movement in the late 1960s and 1970s. I said I was joking, but I wasn't. This person was definitely a demon sent from the Most High to confound planet Earth with this doctrine of quote unquote feminism. All right. And where did she draw her inspiration from? Okay. Because the so-called Black woman, they look up to this woman, man, because most of our women, we follow behind the so-called white woman, especially the liberal so-called white woman. That's where we get a lot of our doctrines from. Now take a look here. It says Steinem was a columnist for the New York Magazine and a co-founder of Miss Magazine. So let's look at this Miss Magazine quickly here, brothers and sisters. Let's take a look at the first edition of Miss Magazine. And what do we see? What do we see? Kali Ma. Are brothers and sisters starting to understand the world that you live in now? All right. All of these things are done on purpose, and they have a spiritual background. All right. When I say spiritual, on the left hand or on the right hand side, that's what Gloria Steinem, that's the energy that she was coming under. You think that she put something like this on this cover of this magazine and she didn't know anything about the worship of Kali Ma? This is where the root of feminism came from, the destroyer goddess, because that's what they want you to do. This is how they want you to view the man. You over the man, you got all these hands and arms and all these feet, and man just sitting here looking submissive. All right, some other symbology here that I can go into, like the serpent, what that means, this leopard print, that half crescent moon. But the point is, for now, this is how they want our women looking, man. All right, a man's hand, the blood still coming out. She about to drink that too, by the way. That's what that tongue represents. That's why she putting it on a bowl here. And some of the wicked elite on the left-hand path, they do drink blood, by the way. But anyway, again, that's the point, brothers and sisters. Gloria Steinem, that she was a big partaker in the feminist movement. She got an inspiration from Kali Ma. That's that energy, man. Again, this Kali Ma thing, when I mention that, I'm not saying that this person is real, but the demon that it represents is definitely real. It's nothing that we should be a part of. All right, let's get 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 12.
This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to observe authority over the man, but to be in silence.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kali Ma, that energy is to usurp authority over the man. Okay, and you don't have to kill a man to usurp authority over him. When you think that you quote unquote equal and all of these things, that's the energy that you represent, whether you know it or not. Because no two things are equal anyways. Women and men are not equal. Scriptures say that the woman is a weaker vessel. And what does that mean? All right, we have our own strengths and weaknesses. So why would you as a woman, try to usurp authority over a man? All right. And why would a man try to become a woman? We all have our places. It's not that the man is quote unquote more important or more vital. It's just that we have different roles. We're not equal. Okay. We got to do our thing, and women's supposed to do their thing. That's just how the Most High got it set up. Read 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1 through 4. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
And by the way, Salakia, before we talk about this verse, that's why brothers got to take their time with the different women that come into their life, because the God of this world is Satan. All right, Satan that is worshipped through these different idols like the Dianas, Artemises, and the Kali Ma, so on and so forth. Okay, and you never know if a woman, or really anybody, we just happen to be talking about the woman right now, has those type of spirits on it. The Most High will reveal that to you if you give them time to do so. But if you try to take things in your own hands and do it, swiftly and hastily, then the Most High may allow that spirit to overtake you. So you got to take your time. All right, your woman might be Kali Ma in the flesh. You don't even know it. But anyway, To this verse, so the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom. All right, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. See, the quote unquote single mother dynamic that we talked about, and I believe the first spiritual wickedness in high places lesson, that's the demonic spirit as well. That's a demonic spirit. And our people, the Most High let our people get engulfed by that demonic spirit when we turn our back on him. That's why we have to keep the statute, laws, commandments of the Most High. These are consequences of not doing so. For time's sake, let's get Luke chapter 11 and verse 27.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 11 and verse 27.
So it make a little bit more sense. Let's get verse 26 at least first.
Verse 26. Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
Let's get verse 27.
Verse 27. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare thee, and the paps which thou hast sucked.
That's what that woman is referring to, Yahushua. So who is the woman that bare, Yahushua, and the paps which he sucked, meaning, the breast milk? That's none other than Mary, right? What did Yahushua say about his mother Mary? Let's get verse 28.
Verse 28. But he said, Yea, rather, blessed are they that hear the word of the Most High and keep it.
So Yahushua is not with the feminist movement, clearly, because in this society, they teach you to worship your woman. Your mother, your mother, right? And we know that childbirth is an amazing thing. We need that. All right, it's mandatory for our nation. And when I say it like that, I just have to say that directly. It's obvious, but I'm just saying it directly. But we're not supposed to worship your mother. All right, you're not supposed to worship your woman. All right, that's a wicked left-hand side energy. And Yahushua himself was not with it. So, he didn't agree with this. Blessed is the woman that barely and paps was down sucked. He said, but rather, rather, blessed are they that hear the word of the Most High and keep it. So they keep the commandments. That's what the Most High said. And Mary is who they try to get you to worship in this society as well, specifically the Catholic Church. But if you didn't know, remember we read about the Queen of Heaven earlier in the scriptures in Jeremiah, the 7th chapter, and also Inanna being the Queen of Heaven. Look who also has the title Queen of Heaven. Queen of Heaven, a title given to Virgin Mary by Christians, mainly the Catholic Church. So they try to get you to worship Mary, man. That's the reason that they say that she was a virgin when she was not. Okay, so you can worship her, you can view Mary, Yahushua's mother, which we know this is a false image. Okay, Mary is a so-called Black woman. So it's not about the accuracy of the nations per se or things of that nature, but they want you to worship Mary. All right. So you can think that she was some type of goddess. That's what they were relating it to, a goddess, that same Queen of Heaven. So, if you need some edification on Christ's mother not being a virgin, just, email us or something like that. We'll break it down to you. Mary was not a virgin. Okay. Yahushua was born into this world a natural birth, just like everyone else. But anyway, I pull this up here quickly. It says, pagan god Isis with Horus. No, actually, you go up. It says, stop worshiping Mary. She's literally just a whitewashed pagan god. And that's true. If you see this image, Isis with Horus, Isis, this is Isis Loctane, if I'm not mistaken. She's always shown with a son by herself. Where her man at? Mary's never shown with Joseph. Where a man at? Semiramis and Tammuz. Where's her man at? Don't you see this image a lot? Especially with the so-called Black woman. She take these photo shoots when it's just her, her son, or daughter, and that's it. Never a man in the picture. And you know, that's really telling, you know, because this image is what they want the so-called Black woman to embrace. You know, it's just her. She's a goddess to be worshiped. You see, this all connects to the things that you see play out here on earth. But even things like the so-called Me Too movement and things like that, it's not it's not for women's betterment. It's really for their destruction. Again, to feed women up, you know, for the slaughter. So you can get all yiked up, and then when things come down, you know, they gonna turn their back on you too, so-called Black women. Right now, they appeasing you, but you know, they gonna turn their back on you too. They just using you right now so they can destroy us being a so-called Black man. Okay, but when they done with you, you know, we done with you too. So enjoy your time now if you somebody that partakes in society. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 8 and verse 14.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8 and verse 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
So it's women weeping for Tammuz, just showing you, you know, this all lines up. Tammuz is the quote unquote sun god. All right. The reason that our people go to church on Sunday is in veneration of Tammuz, or the sun god. That's why they changed the worship to Sunday. That started back with Constantine, you know, in the 4th century. Okay, that's exactly why you do that. But anyway, I have more on Mary. So Mary, why do they have a Hail Mary in the Catholic Church? Why is that? When did the scriptures tell us to worship Mary or have a separate prayer for Mary? You understand it? This is all to get you to worship the woman, because that's what they do in the Catholic Church. They know all about Ashera and Diana and all these different Kali Ma, all these different goddesses that we name. They know all about that. Okay, this is not a happenstance that you have these things happen. You know, you got a whole different Hail Mary here. It says, "Blessed art thou among women," according to what? And I'm not saying that Mary is not significant because she birthed our Lord and Savior, Yahweh. I'm not saying that, but she wasn't to be worshipped either. Even her being the mother of Yahweh, we not to worship her at all. I mean, you see how Yahweh moved on. I mean, he didn't disrespect her or nothing like that. I wouldn't dare claim anything like that. I'm not coming close to saying that, but you know, she had a proper place just like everybody else. Scripture is slipping me right now where Yahweh literally refers to her as woman. Y'all know what I'm talking about? We'll move on if brothers know what I'm talking about. I can pull out my sword. We'll get a little bit later on. But for time's sake, though, let's get Revelation chapter 17 and verse 3.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Wow. So this is all symbolic here. Let's get verse 4.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Let's get verse 5.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth.
So that's a mystery of iniquity. It's Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So we know that this is referring to the doctrine of this world mainly. everything all put together that we've talked about, but also, it's double and triple fold as well, because we know that the goddess is one of the main avenues of pagan god worship in this society. And they try to put the woman worship on you. And really, this is kind of going a little bit deeper, but there's three main aspects of the left-hand path, which is the real trinity that they try to get you to worship. The Father, the quote-unquote Son, being the sun god, and then the mother goddess. That's the three main aspects. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Point is, so that this is double meaning, of the mother goddess as well. Okay. And the scripture I was talking about earlier, that was John chapter 2, verse 4. When Yahushua said, "Woman, what have I done with thee?" Or something, something to that extent, I'm paraphrasing.
What I have to do with thee. Yeah.
Con. Now, brother, do you have your sword on you?
Con.
Okay. So what I want you to do, Baba Kasha, is read Revelation chapter 17 and verse 4 as I go through this. Now this says Oprah Winfrey, because I'm gonna have this on screen. Oprah Winfrey channels Beyonce, models for dramatic looks for the Oprah magazine. Now, if you understand anything about the left-hand path, you understand that the higher up that you have these people, the higher up they are into witchcraft, into sorcery. So somebody like Oprah, as much as she's been exalted, that means she's deep off in that thing, deep off in it. They don't allow you to become famous in this society unless you embrace Baal, Kali Ma, so on and so forth, whoever it is, the goat god, essentially. And Oprah is no different. Just because she's a so-called Black woman, don't let that fool you. These people, they don't believe in scriptures at all. Oprah came out and said that she didn't believe in the Bible. She said that directly. Now, look at this picture here. These are the different types of things that they try to show you who these people adhere to, and they want you to do the same. All right. Baba Kasha, could you read Revelation chapter 17, starting at verse 3?
Con. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
A scarlet covered beast. Let's get verse 4.
Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. You understand the world that you live in now? This was done on purpose. This image that you see in Oprah, that's why she has on scarlet and purple. They knew about Revelation, the 17th chapter, when they had this woman wear this. You can keep going.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
And pearls, as she's wearing. Let's keep going.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Let's keep going. Verse 5.
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. Now, what did she quote right here? What does this say? Every woman needs a little mystery.
Wow.
And a lot of color. If you think this is a coincidence, I'm sorry, this is not for you then, because I don't know what else. I don't know what else I could show you to help you understand that the world that you live in is completely engulfed with the left-hand path. And that's what these people are trying to get you to embrace, so-called Black man and woman. All right. It's what it's all about. That's what Oprah has embraced. That's what she's showing you. This is coded talk right here. Every woman needs a little mystery and a lot of color. She is the whore of Babylon. That's what she's telling you. He's arrayed in pearls and scarlet and purple. Just like we just read. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Let's get Revelation chapter 18, verse 4.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues.
So that's my hope here of showing you this lesson, is that you come out of the world. You don't embrace these different doctrines that these people put on you. Okay, if it's popular in the world, it's not popular in the scriptures. It's not anything you should embrace at all. And it has a demonic and Luciferian resonance behind it. It's not innocent. It's just not what's in or trendy right now. You have to flee that thing, man. If you don't understand, find somebody that does. Okay. Reach out to us or find a man in the Lord that you know. But again, this is in no way, shape, form, or fashion to diminish the role of a woman in her right mind. However, we did have to go over this just so you can see the origins of feminism and the different energies that this wicked society wants you to embrace. And with that, I'm out. Shalom.